The views and opinions expressed by the host do not necessarily state or reflect those of the company and its management. Furthermore, the views and opinions of the guests do not reflect the host, the show, the management, and this station.
Hello everyone! Ito po ang inyong lingkod, Tita Sure Manuel. And of course, I'm so proud to tell you that right now, nagpapatuloy pa rin po tayo sa ating mga ginagampanan na mga media and productions. And of course, nasa filmmaking din tayo. And speaking of productions, nais ko kayong inyayahan dito sa aming Supreme Productions. Dahil po dito sa Supreme Productions, marami po tayo ditong mga ginagampanan. Kasama po dito ang pagde-develop ng talent. So, dito lang po yan matatagpuan sa Brick Road. Huwag niyong kakalimutan, Supreme Productions. For all your dreams to come true, why don't you join and see Supreme Productions for yourself? Again, the place is at Santa Lucia Mall here in Cainta. Thank you.
All right, so you're all very special to me. So this is your friend once more, Rex Manuel of Elizalde Broadcasting, bringing you special people daily. Now daily as a program, it's now every day. However, I would like to excuse myself. I believe that the last time I had a program was the other day at Wednesday when I had a dear friend who came here to be my guest and who announced that he will have a program called Usapang Gobyerno. Okay. I refer of course to my dear friend Christian Gravador. Okay. Just yesterday though we also had another guest, but she didn't go live yesterday. She didn't have a broadcast with me. Although the reason why she also was here was to prepare for her own program, which I believe now she will no longer call it Bang Bang Bang. I do understand that she prepared for a program called Bang, but she will now have a program. Right now, her intention is to have a program which is gonna be called Lucky or Luck By. Okay, it's luck, which means lucky, and then by would be spelled bae or bai or I don't know how they call it. These are for the katutubo when they call you a queen, I believe, or a princess. They call you bai or bae or I don't know how to pronounce that, but she will call her program. I believe she will call her program Luck By. Okay. So she would be something like competing with a friend of ours also who's doing a program called Pasyal Tayo. But okay, so I'm bringing you all these details or highlights of what we will be doing in the next weeks to come. Hopefully, even before June. But actually, we only have how many days before June? That will be on Monday. We will have that's the 30th of May, and then another one, 31st of May on Tuesday. So come Wednesday will be called already June, the month of June, and it's going to start June 1st. And of course, we also received an invitation from some of our friends who are actually celebrating victory parties. Okay, so one friend of mine who is inviting me, actually speaking of tribal groups, this is the Maharlika tribal group, I believe, which is headed by of course a friend who responds to the name I don't know, it's called Alakdan, but there's a word before that which is Raja. or Raha. I don't know how to pronounce that now because the reason I'm confused is because Alakdan is the next word. So maybe it's better to call him Raha Alakdan. Okay, that will be tomorrow, and that's a celebration also of Thanksgiving and a victory party for the elected president, President elect Ferdinand Marcos Jr. And this will be held at the Amaranto Stadium, and that's in Quezon City, and that's going to be as early, I believe, as early as 8 in the morning or 10. But definitely they will be serving lunch. So that's the invitation from our Katutubo friends. Okay. I do remember that personally for me, I also had a sort of a participation before with another Katutubo friend. She calls herself Princess Amira Magdangal. Okay. So I do believe that Princess Amira filed for candidacy as a vice president. Supposedly, she was one of those who filed for a vice presidential slate this election under the party called Philippine Green Republic. But I don't know what happened, but I think the entire party was declared nuisance, if that's the case, or they were disqualified. And speaking of disqualification, I now know that we had friends who had good numbers in terms of votes turned in for this election, but they were not proclaimed because, according to COMELEC, there were some problems on set upon registration. That's why they were supposed to be considered disqualified. But they filed for a motion for reconsideration. So, di ba kaya nga tinawag motion for reconsideration? You have to act on the reconsideration, di ba? Kaya nga motion no? Merong motion to dismiss or motion to qualify. We don't know, but this one is called a reconsideration. So you will have to reconsider. Parang ganun siguro yun, no? Baka nagsimula sa motion for consideration and things like that. But anyway, I'd like to address this now, my statement to a certain Michelle Sastado. Michelle, I don't know the role exactly of Michelle now. I want to call her a little congresswoman because though the first time we were together in Congress, she was actually a chief of staff or a COS. And people would love to call her Madam COS. But then we don't know because a lot of things happened from then on. We had an election, last election 2019, wherein the now late, the late Congressman Datol ran for Congress. That was supposed to be a re-election because the election before that, I believe election 2016, both Congressman Datol, the late Congressman Datol, and then Congresswoman Mila Magsaysay ran under the party list called Senior Citizens Party List. Siyempre naguguluhan ako dyan because I remember that the very first time I got to know that there was a congressman for a party list and that there's a party list called Senior Citizens, I do remember that it was then Congressman, a lawyer, Congressman Godofredo Arquisa. So Godofredo Arquisa, who was then very visible during the time that they were lobbying for more benefits for senior citizens. Of course, I remember too that before I met Congressman Arquisa, I already had a dear friend, a dear congressman. His name is Ed Shalcita, but he was not a congressman for senior citizens. Ed Shalcita was not even a senior citizen himself during the time. He was congressman for Parañaque. But I do believe that he has prepared a lot of things which are in store for senior citizens. And I do remember then that even, the discounts and all that, it was then Congressman Ed Shalcita who was, paving the way for the senior citizens to have an active role in the society. Because after all, the senior citizens are really a part of our nation building. As a matter of fact, this election, 2022, I still have a good impression about the senior citizens who went out of their way just so they could cast their votes to the now elected president. Of course, we know Ferdinand Marcos Jr., who we know as a little boy when we first got to meet him, especially for those who are already at the time moviegoers. If you would recall that then president, of course, the late Ferdinand Marcos had a movie called Iginuhit ng Tadhana. Am I correct? Oo. Kasi yung kay Marcos, Iginuhit ng Tadhana. But there's another movie naman which is meant for then President Diosdado Macapagal. Diosdado Macapagal was, the movie was entitled Tagumpay ng Mahihirap. And it starred Robert Arevalo as the president then, Diosdado Macapagal. But on the part of Ferdinand Marcos, who I believe was running for the first time as a president, the movie was called Iginuhit ng Tadhana. Okay, maybe really everything is Iginuhit ng Tadhana because whatever is happening to us now are all, you would say that, there's really a God up there who sees us and who sees everything that's happening in us. And sometimes life can be painful, life can be excruciatingly painful. But if God has a reason why, then all you have to do is just stand firm and just wait and just allow God to let things happen as they are. Like, this pandemic times, if you do recall, that's about more than 2 years ago. I remember it was a March when this was announced by the president. Right now, he's still our president, of course, Rodrigo Duterte. We were all disheartened by the fact that, he called for a lockdown and he goes to say that we are going to have what we call a community quarantine. And it was really painful, especially for people who were preparing for bigger projects. Like in our case, one of the projects that we did sacrifice is a movie called Love Ko Sigob, wherein yours truly plays the role of a screenwriter. I should have been, well, I was already, because I already prepared the film. It's already done in a screenplay form, so I was the screenwriter for that movie, Love Ko Sigob. But it could have been my break to be the assistant director of Neil Tan. Wow. Could have been my first project on filmmaking, directing in a film. Because I did directions, no? As a matter of fact, I had a documentary film called, Mga Dakilang Lakan, but it was a semi-documentary film, and I was a director of that film. I need not write my script because, these were the lives of the different presidents of the Philippines. What we did was to, create a semi-documentary on the lives of the Filipino presidents. Okay, but, well, of course, life is not always a happy and enjoyable life. There are times when you feel not so happy, when you feel that some things are not going according to what you envision it to be, then this should have been reasons for you to be discouraged. But of course, yours truly would never allow any discouragement to come my way. If things are happening which are not what I'm expecting, instead of being discouraged, I just say that it's a temporary condition. Whatever happening is happening now, but it's a temporary condition. But if you, of course, get beautiful, messages coming from up there, I believe that God will try to send you messages so you go strong despite the odds. Sometimes maybe these are just trying moments to test your faith, just how strong your faith is. And you just have to live on and go on with life. Oh, by the way, as I'm talking to you now, I'm awaiting the call of a certain former governor. That former governor was supposed to be interviewed. We're supposed to talk on air, but I don't know. We'll just wait for the time to come. And by the way, if Mr. Madrid is listening right now, I sent you a message telling you that you can try. We could test how the system works. Let's find out, okay? And to all my friends, especially my friend in the Kaanak organization, the chairman and the founding president, I believe, is Willie Quechonco. So sorry to say, Willie, that okay, I don't mind having a meeting with you. Parang he's asking me to meet with him on June 1, but June 1 is another day, and this time maybe I don't want to miss the June 1 celebration, because I have a feeling that when you say it's a victory party for the president, siguro naman na sisilip naman siguro yung president dyan. Ewan ko lang. Kasi, hindi ba, ironic to eh. I don't know who's inviting. But if I recall, these were the same people I met in one occasion celebrating, this was before the election, of course, celebrating their freedom from, oppression ba yon? Na-oppress ba kayo? Na-depress. Iba yung depress, iba yung na-oppress. Mas mabigat yung na-oppress. But I also saw that, some of those who celebrated, some people already celebrated the victory party. They were trying to be victorious. I just wonder what they were doing before before the election. Siguro talagang victorious ka if you did something, no, for a person who finally won. Oo. And you also feel bad if you did something for some person and they were not lucky enough to be voted upon. But sa case ko po, I'm just really letting the Lord dictate my life. So one of them, I'd like to believe that my dreams, my plans, which I already presented to him, may come true. I want it to come true, of course, And if God can send me messages through cell phone, how I wish He could. But if not, I do believe that sometimes the message comes as a dream. The message also comes in real life or in actual life situation. And all you have to do is interpret what the message is. So okay, for my friends out there who are still, very active with social media, help us, help our company, let us have more views, more likes, and subscribe in our YouTube channel. I am a great fan of people doing the right thing in social media. Because, since after all, social media is not regulated by the government, but maybe soon it will be. But in the meantime that it's not, self-regulate. You know how to self-regulate, even your life. You should be able to self-regulate your life. Because you have to adjust to the times. These are the changing times. For example, now I'm sure that not everybody is happy, although majority, and again they even say that for the first time after many many years, this is one occasion wherein a president gets elected on this kind of a margin to the next candidate, and I think he has double the votes or more than double the votes. But anyway, it's not all about being triumphant. It's not all about victory. It's also, trying to be of service to as many people that you could be of service to. I believe life is short, and your stay in this world is nothing compared to the life eternal. And the life eternal is what should matter to us all, that we should always look forward, that we're doing more things to make more people happy. So, having said that, I would like to remind that the month of June is actually an Independence Day month, being June 12 as an Independence Day. We might be celebrating Independence Day in different ways, but I do believe that on the part of the AWESCOP, they are planning for something again which should commemorate the event. I have my group in Pasig which is called the Moms Aero International. Wow, nilagyan na ng international Kasi yung Moms Aero, headed by Miss Sosima Liberatus, they started, as a matter of fact, but they were not yet seniors also. Just like me. I was not a senior citizen when I started, joining this group, join this aging group. We call it aging. There was also an organization called Aging Pinoy. And then personally, also for me, I was a big part of the Golden Years Association. I don't know if I would say now that I'm still a big part of the Golden Years Association, but I am in constant communication with a certain doctor, a geriatrician, a doctor for the older folks. That's no less than Dr. Miguel Ramos. So, Dr. Miguel Ramos, pinapalakpakan yan. I'd like to say thank you, Dr. Miguel, because, you became a part of the golden years even as you were so young. He was a very young doctor when he first, joined in. Joined not necessarily to be a member of the golden years, but he was there to provide us all that we needed to know about the health of people growing old. And I learned from him that, stress is something that should be avoided. If you want to live long in life, avoid stress. So, Dr. Miguel Ramos, I'll be keeping in touch with you. There are things that I'd like to consult with you, especially that we have some elderly folks right now, so elderly that they cannot even move the way they used to. And unlike my dear friend Tita Mina, Tita Mina is my forever young friend. So Tita Mina may be watching now. I was even inviting her to, join me in this episode today. And I was just sad because she's already preparing to leave for the States. So she says that I'm learning something now, sure. I'm being taught this because if once I go to the US, everything is digital now. So according to the children who are there in the US, their mom, Mina Mislang, the wife of the late General Mislang, should be taught how to, make her life digital. So this is the digital world, and we have to really make things or adapt ourselves to the digital world. That means make ourselves prepared for all the possible changes that may happen in terms of digital, technology. And actually, Tita Mina, I call her, or Semina Mislang, is actually the treasurer of the AWESCOP, and she's been there through these years. and we work together in most of all our endeavors. In fact, she joined me in my Filipino Elderly Global Talent Society. She even gave in to my invitation of making her one of the models, endorsers of the brand, which is called the uh, Nurogen E. Okay, so Tita Mina, and then of course the former Congresswoman Mila Magsaysay, and of course the former Congressman Dante Liban were my models for the Nurogen E. Now well, this is between me and George Banal. George Banal and myself, we were both endorsers of the brand Prime Milk. Prime Milk? Ganun ba yun? Enervon, syempre. Enervon Prime. Because there's an Enervon for children. But when you say the milk is called Enervon Prime Milk, okay? So, not that I'm trying to discourage you from buying the more expensive one, is something that, of course, also I refer to the brand of Abbott Laboratories, and we welcome, of course, Abbott Laboratories as one of our regular sponsors as well, but not on the milk side, because Abbott is also a brand or a company, a pharmaceutical company which you can rely on, because Abbott Laboratories are of course the makers of Ensure and other brands. They also have now Glucerna for those with diabetes, and of course for the children, don't you forget that there's a brand for children which is also coming from Abbott Laboratories, and it's called Growing Up Milk. But with, of course, United Lab, let's go back to United Lab. We would like to thank Unilab because we were also able to go and visit a lot of schools promoting what you call the brand for children, which is, what is that brand that we went around all over, all over using Unilab, of course, we know that they have Nutroplex. And in fact, we were happy that we were able to make a lot of schools enjoy, all the all the raffle prizes that they were all giving out during this time of promotions. We also would like to thank Goldilocks Philippines. Goldilocks, okay. So, as you know, we bring happiness to the school children when we do teach them how to decorate their own cake. So we would go in a school and we would, gather all the children, give them all the materials, all the ingredients they need to come up with their own cake. And that's why we call the program Decorate Your Own Cake or Decorate Your Cake. Okay, so, and I'm sure a lot of teachers and principals were happy because we know how to share. We shared to the principals, especially for those schools where, there are there are teachers celebrating their birthdays. And sometimes it coincides with our visit with them. Okay, I'm bringing back all this just to let you know that there's the brighter side of things about what's going on now. The going back to almost normal is that we might be experiencing all the beautiful things that we used to experience, having events in different malls. For each SM, I would like to tell you, each SM super mall, I don't know now whether they're gonna bring back the seniors at work because they were giving, chances for the senior citizens to earn quite a good income during the time that there was this project by the SM for the senior citizens. But of course, the city of Manila, as is spearheaded with then already by our dear mayor now, still our mayor. There were also occasions where we actually were able to share, some jobs or job opportunities for people in Manila. And this includes, being in Jollibee or in McDonald's and things like that. So we have all those programs waiting for the senior citizens to, enjoy once more. And again, I'm saying June might be a beautiful month to start with because I'm planning to have a ramp modeling for the senior citizens, especially for those who would like to wear you know, their wedding gowns, if they would still fit to their old wedding gowns. But if not, I have my dear friend Cassandra D, a designer who's willing to, dress the models. She's willing to give or lend her beautiful gowns to be modeled by our models, our senior citizens models, and we call them the golden fashionistas. Okay, so again, okay, I'm here to almost say bye-bye now, but I'd like to just remind you before I say bye-bye that this could be a beginning of something new for us. Of course, we know there's only one party list right now making it or already proclaimed last night, and that's the party list, Senior Citizens Party List, number 158. But of course, it saddens me that way back, I would campaign for them. I believe the number was 151. And, I remember that pictures of those who were then vying or being nominated as party list representatives. At the time, I saw, of course, number one, because he was in fact the first one, really, Attorney Godofredo Arquisa. The second one, in that particular propaganda material that I handled, says Mila Aquino Magsaysay, but at the time she has not seated yet as a congresswoman. But the number three nominee then in that party list was the real one who already sat as a congressman, number two in that particular election that he won as the number two nominee. This is no less than my dear friend, Mr. David Ko, the former Congressman David Ko. And so, David, if you're listening right now, I think I'd like to challenge you that you please be active again, because the senior citizens really miss a guy like you. David has been so kind and accommodating that in fact in the movie Talo, Tabla, Panalo, he played a cameo role of a congressman, and that's his character. In fact, I call it, it's a true to life role that he is playing, because he was really playing the role of a congressman then, and the only difference is that he was giving an award, but the award was given to Boots Anson Roa, who plays the role of an elderly woman, successful in life materially, yet not so successful because her children, the eldest, the second, and the third children that she has, the three of them, were all about to leave her as they were going to be joining their own husband and wife, meaning their own partners in life. So we'd like to probably have a sequel to that. In fact, right now I feel so challenged, especially learning from Christian Grabador, that Amy Abarquez, then producer of the movie, where I was an associate producer. Amy Abarquez, I heard of the news that you didn't make it as a vice mayor, because from councilor she ran for vice mayor. So Miss Amy, if you're ready to take part again in our movie making, we're here. We're still waiting for you to, make yourself be felt by us again, because we miss you. I know that you are going to also reactivate your Miss Tourism Philippines and allow us to help you. I believe that Miss Nina Tuduran Actually, she was with me when we were, sort of screening all the candidates for the Miss Tourism Philippines. I think Miss Nina Taduran is also back into broadcast now, and she is with the WIC. But anyway, we'll be keeping in touch with you, Miss Amy Abarquez, and we'll be keeping in touch with all the people who made it, and will be sitting as, in their respective posts after this, beginning June 30, after the takeover. There's really a takeover. But anyway, there's going to be more fun, more, I would say, more things to look forward to as we imagine ourselves in a new normal, the Philippines in a new normal, and sabi nga sa Tagalog ng bagong lipunan, di ba? In other words, there's an English version of that. It's called The New Society. But mas maganda kasi pinapakinggan yung bagong lipunan di ba? Because the new society would mean pwede na rin renewed, di ba? Kasi the new society, if for the longest years, ilang dekada rin po tayo, ilang dekada po tayong nagbubulag-bulagan, ilang dekada rin po tayong nananahimik na lang. I believe it's about time we stand up and be heard. So with the new president that we will, right now, he's been proclaimed, but he will only assume office on June 30. So let's all pray for the success of our nation beginning right now, right at this moment. We don't have to wait for June 30. We do believe that President-elect Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos is already doing his role. So my friends there, the richer guys I know, Manny Kabugao, there's also Ricky Manzano, Manolet Umali. Guys, come on, let's all fall in as one. Kung magkakasama tayo nun, dapat magkakasama pa rin tayo ngayon. Don't look at the colors. Don't look at the political colors. Look at what we are all aiming for. And I do know that you all aim for a beautiful country, a beautiful Philippines. So forget political affiliations. Just bear in mind that your country needs you. So having said that again, and about to say bye-bye for now, it's a weekend. So tomorrow there's no program for the special people. But I'll see you again next week. So this is your friend, Rex Manuel, and I'll be with you till the next special people episode. Thank you. Bye for now. Special.